Hey, AJ.
Oh, God. What? What do you want?
Let me open my locker to talk to you. Hold on a second.
This is like a locker talk every single time before the show.
It really is. It
Hold
really
on.
is.
I've got my shit. What's her? I got my Tiffany Amber Thyssen poster.
Ooh, Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I got my Zach Morris poster from that back then too. Good shit, man. Good shit. Did people ever actually get thrown in lockers, or is that just like a thing they did in movies?
I've always wondered about that. It seems like it's been really exaggerated, but it did sound like growing up in the 70s and stuff. If you were like a nerd, maybe that happened or picked on. But
I mean, I saw Dazed and Confused. That was all real, right?
That I was so terrified my first day of high school, and like I got there and like it was totally cool. Like everyone was super cool, and I'm like, what the hell, man? What's all this lies about like your first day of high school being like horrible?
I mean, because it was.
I mean, it was horrible.
It was for the rest of us. All right, man. Let's start the show. This is PSVR GamesCast Live, and we film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Oh, God, it's going to be one of those days today. I'm sure you'll let me know. Somebody in the chat will let me know. But we're here, so it is 6 p.m. Eastern, live right here on YouTube. You know what that means. If you're watching it right now, not later, but who knows? Because if it's later, you won't know that it's later, unless you look at the clock, and then it's later. Or you can just listen to us on any podcast service of your choice, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anything like that. Tornadoes meowing in the background, so meows on my end. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole, and this guy over here, my hetero life mate AJ from the Underground, PSVR Underground.
What is up, Brian? What is up, Game Cats and the VR grid? Who's in here?
Oh, not the grid.
Guy.
Everybody hates the grid. Why can't we turn off the grid?
Everybody hates the blue grid, man. Happy Monday, and we are here to make your Monday suck just a little bit less.
Tips are coming in right off the bat. Look for the Underground Game Cat with the €2 says, why don't I see Lady? Do you know how to pronounce that? The Resident Evil 8 lady.
Demetrescu.
The answer is no.
I haven't played the game. I'm waiting for the VR. I'm waiting for the VR version. So I've avoided all and everything Resident Evil Village that I can.
Yeah, on the other side of the fence, we got Bell Ramio the Game Cat with the €5 says Minecraft on the thumbnail, 11 out of 10.
Was Minecraft on the thumbnail?
It was subtle. I knew you wouldn't approve if it was like right there, full force sentence.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have.
Do you hate it when I call you my hetero life mate? I always feel like out of the corner of my eye, I see you go.
No, of course not.
All right, cool. Just wondering, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, and It's funny. I'm not a huge fan of Kevin Smith stuff. I just like Kevin Smith. Like I love like watching him talk for hours on end. But Clerks is fine. Mallrats, all that stuff is great. But like, I'm just a fan of Kevin Smith, not really Kevin Smith works. So that's
the last movie was pretty bad. I don't know what it was. I don't remember what it was, but it's supposed to be pretty bad. I'm a fan of Kevin Smith too, and the Clerks and Mallrats.
Did you see
those
Tusk?
old movies. Is that Kevin Smith movie?
Yeah, I just watched it for the first time like a week or two ago, and I was like,
with Justin Long?
Yeah, I was like, this is fucking
disturbing. Yeah, that's like Human Centipede-ish territory with that one. Didn't enjoy that one a whole lot, but it certainly is burned in my brain forever.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's certainly not a movie I'm going to go recommend to anybody. I'm not going to be like, oh, you want a good horror movie? Go watch Tusk. I'll be like, if you don't want to sleep ever again, Tusk. All right, you guys, we have a ton of stuff to talk about. I just want to first give a huge shout out, of course, everyone who supports us on patreon.com/withoutparolegames. If you're a $3 plus subscriber or supporter, your name is on that list below. And also you have access to voice chat over on Discord. Discord, however, free to everybody. So make sure you join us on Discord. Click the link in the description below. Join us over there. That's where all the coolest cats hang out 24/7. And sometimes I'm there too. Not cool.
Before we get started, Brian, can I say something real quick? One of our best friends, one of our biggest supporters for a long time, which you know him as Donatello the Scientist Game Cat. He is currently in the hospital right now, and he is scheduled to have surgery soon.
Tomorrow, great.
So if you're listening, Josh, love you, man, and I hope you have a speedy recovery, and would really appreciate all the cats. Send Josh all you love and your best wishes, and hope for a speedy recovery. We're thinking about you, dude.
Yeah, for sure. If you're religious, pray for him. If you're not religious, send positive vibes out there into the universe. Because when one of us is hurting, man, we're all hurting, and we never like to see anybody hurt. We see people are always. Trust me. If you are out there and you've ever said, "Hey, I got to go to the hospital for this," or "Hey, I'm suffering from this," like, I think about you a lot, right? You're always in the back of my mind going, oh, man, I hope that person's okay. I hope they're doing all right. And this Josh is obviously the most recent example of that. So yes,
killer
absolutely.
Fucking dude.
Yeah,
Killer
thank you, AJ,
dude.
for bringing that to everybody's attention. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Well, let's get this show running. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Actually, we've got some Quest games coming to PSVR2 that have been announced. We've got we're going to be talking quite a bit about if there could be a potential system seller for PlayStation VR2. But first, we got to talk about the Global Game Jam 2022, where, you know what?
It's time to Global Jam. I don't know the Space Jam theme. Come on. No.
I don't think I've ever seen Space
Game Jam. All right. You never saw Space Jam?
I think there's going to be people in the comments crucifying me. I know it.
Moving on. Next topic. No. Yes. Have you ever heard of the Global Game Jam, Brian, before?
I mean, I've heard of game jams before. I don't know if the Global Game Jam ever stood out to me for any particular reason. It does stand out to me for a particular reason this time around. But we'll get to that. Let's educate everybody on what Global Game Jam is by heading on over to their website and discussing it. Why don't you hit us up with their About Us page, AJ?
I got this. The Global Game Jam, GGJ, is the world's largest game creation event taking place around the globe, typically at physical locations. A game jam is essentially a hackathon focused on game development. It is the growth of an idea that in today's heavily connected world, we could come together, be creative, share experiences, and express ourselves in a multitude of ways using video games. It is very universal. The weekend stirs a global creative buzz in games while at the same time exploring the process of development, be it programming, iterative design, narrative exploration, or artistic expression. It is all condensed into a 48-hour development cycle. The GGJ encourages people with all kinds of backgrounds to participate and contribute to this global spread of game development and creativity.
Yeah, the next paragraph is actually the what will clue you into what game jams are actually all about. And it says the structure of a jam is usually that everyone gathers on Friday late afternoon, watches a short video keynote with advice from leading game developers, and then a secret theme is announced. All sites worldwide are then challenged to make games based on that same theme, with games to be completed by Sunday afternoon. In January 2020, we had a record-breaking year with 934 locations in 118 countries. And in total, they created 9,601 games in one weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they're continuing
That's
to do that.
That's a lot of games.
Right? And even with the pandemic going on right now, it seems like Game Jam 2022 has 666 locations. They stopped at the perfect number. They're like, don't go, no more. No more. We don't care. No more applications will be accepted. And so this is, again, it's all about developers kind of flexing that creative muscle that sometimes they don't get to do at AAA studios, where they're just like, you got to make the graphics for this section, or you got to do the coding for this thing over here, or you have a very specific job and doesn't lend to a lot of creativity. But global game jams, or game jams in general, are all about creativity. And so you got all these teams making all these games over a very, very short amount of time. AJ, why do we care about this specific game jam?
Well, because amongst some of the sponsors, Sony Interactive Entertainment has partaken in this event, and they've sponsored their challenge that is called "Be Visionary." And the description of this says that with the SIE challenge is to enable VR support in your game and slash or implement eye tracking capabilities as part of your gameplay. Very interesting that they're kind of prodding with this here, wouldn't you say?
Uh, yeah, I mean, if you're Sony and you're saying, hey, we're trying to push VR forward, and one of the things we love about video games, as they always have ever since they first got on the scene with PS1, they've always loved this sort of like really weird niche indie aspect of gaming where they've always just been like, I mean, we got games like Vib Ribbon back on PlayStation 1, and Mr. Mosquito and
Deep
Mad
cut.
Maestro, right? Yeah, oh, I mean, seriously, deep cuts, like all this weird shit. And like, and even on they kind of seem to get away from it a little bit on PlayStation 4, but that's because I don't think crazy weird indie games needed attention anymore. Like they were just able to publish their games on the PlayStation 4. There were tons of them, and so you didn't really need Sony's support anymore.
Right.
But this kind of gets back to it, right? This sort of gets back to Sony saying, "Hey, we want to nurture that creativity, and if you have something that you think would be very cool to do in VR, especially with eye tracking, well then we've got the perfect headset to showcase the thing that we want you to experiment with, and that's the PlayStation VR2, obviously."
Yeah, it's a really smart idea on their part to get some ideas to see, basically have how many people attend this thing? Like, I mean, essentially,
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be
there's
like
like
six to
that.
700 locations all around the globe.
Right. So it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of different ideas of kind of probing a development crowd, an audience of different ways you can innovate. I mean, that's one thing I've always loved about Sony is you always find them innovating and being creative and taking risks and always finding ways to try something different with games. And I think that's for me, that's why I've always stuck around for so long because I get a lot of new things, new experiences. And, PlayStation VR 2 and eye tracking is going to be one of the newest ones. Now, let me ask you something, Brian. Can you pitch me a game real quick that uses eye tracking?
Okay, it's a dating sim. All right. Now,
If you look down a little bit, you lose, right? You lose some points.
no, it's like you got to flirt, right? But flirting is all about eye contact, not too much, not too little, right? And so if you see a girl or guy across the room, and you do one of these, but if you hold the look for too long, they're like, ooh, fucking creepo, right? And they like walk away. But if you do it just long enough, and then you look away, and you're all coy and shit, then like it's. I don't know, man. That's just part. I like dating sims. I think the visual novels are
You
awesome.
don't say.
You don't say.
Those games, those certain games, those dating sim games, are meant for you. I realize this now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm the guy that keeps the stare too long. I'm like,
Oh man, I mean, you could use that in a bunch of different scenarios. You could have it where like you're going through maybe a bad neighborhood and you happen to see some people with some tattoos and symbols of certain types, and maybe if you stare at them too long, they come and chase you.
yeah, absolutely, man. or only the characters that you're talking to, when you look at them, are making eye contact back at you, right? So instead of everyone just like kind of having the same glare, everybody's.
I mean, at least you're creative and innovative. I was just like I was actually thinking about it. If I really thought hard about it, I think I could think of something cool. But I just the first thing I thought of was just like football, throw like playing a quarterback or something, and where you look is kind of like where it throws to.
I think we can all sleep well tonight knowing that wasn't the first thing I thought about. Football. Yeah. What if there was a Superman game and you could shoot lasers out of your eyes, and instead of having to like move your head, you could just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be really interesting to see how eye tracking is utilized as an input for gameplay. And
Right.
it's, again, a very, very sneaky way on Sony's part to probe a large audience of different ideas and things. And I'd imagine that, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they learn. This is like, I look at this as them kind of like their research and development department,
Yep.
kind of looking at these different ideas and whatnot.
Yeah, no, I mean, sports definitely have a ton of applications here. Well, yeah, we've been so focused on like the the rendering techniques that we'll use eye tracking. Foveated rendering will team up with eye tracking so well in order to cut down the processing power in order to make games look good. But yeah, but games that actually just use eye tracking, there are going to be games that don't require that extra processing power, right? That are going to be like smaller games, and that will the gameplay will actually be part of, or eye tracking will be part of the gameplay. And yeah, we were just talking about who is the developer. It was IO Interactive, right? Who was saying you aim with this hand and you throw with the other, right?
Right,
now,
right.
now you aim with your eyes, like whatever target you're
Exactly.
looking at. So
Yeah, that's one of the most immediate things you can definitely think of is like aim assist. That's throwing in VR. I don't care what platform you're on. It is up to the developers to get the throwing right, because I've played games on VR and Quest that have both had good games that have had throwing and bad games or games with bad throwing. And so, yeah, I really hope to see eye tracking because you're always looking at something and you go, ugh, and then what happens? It like flies up beside you. It drops it next to you. It never seems to work right. So I think definitely some eye tracking would be great for some throwing mechanics. But it could be so much more than that, though. You know?
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think either of us sitting here, or anybody in the chat, is going to really understand what eye tracking is capable of until we start seeing it implemented in games, and we may not even know for years just how useful it can be, or the different implementations. I was trying to thinking implications, and I was like, "There's not enough syllables in that word for the thing I'm saying."
Implications of implementations. I remember that one. I had to practice hard for that one.
I don't even know what that means. we got Looper, the underground game cat with the 5 years in the chat, says once again, Angels in Doctor Who are the perfect application for eye tracking. Same for stone monsters in dread halls, etc. Yeah, horror games big time. The end of Blair Witch, if you guys played Blair Witch VR, that's another one where you don't want to be looking at things if you don't have to. AJ, when we were putting the show together today, you said, "Hey, I checked out this thing in Dreams, but I have no idea what it is. But I'm about to show the trailer, or your gameplay of it. Why don't you tell me all about it, AJ?"
Well, let me tell you a little something about Dino DNA, Brian. There is a creator in Dreams. Dreams continues to showcase why it is just awesome in so many different ways. Now, this isn't really a game, so this isn't like the usual thing I talk about, but it's just so damn impressive that I had to. And that is Chronotican is a Dreams creator. He made, if you remember early on, he did make some early dinosaur stuff where like it was some of the first VR stuff I tried in Dreams, where you're sitting in a jungle and a T-Rex's head pops out and velociraptors run by and stuff, and it's really cool. Just scenes is really what he specializes in. And he has made a T-Rex, and I think it's just called T-Rex Roar. But it's essentially like almost a perfect rendition of the Jurassic Park 1 T-Rex. And you'll probably be seeing the footage now, man. And holy shit, the detail on this thing is absolutely incredible.
Do you get any closer to it?
So that's the thing, is like you can't get up and walk around. I want to talk to him and whatnot and see, hey, let us get really up close and personal with this thing. Like, I want this thing roaring in my face, but it's still right now, even though he just added the VR support, it's still super, super impressive. And there's even a little footage at the end of the video I posted where you can kind of see it, and it's without VR, because flat screen never does VR justice. When you're trying to watch VR, it always looks way better to that person in the headset, and such is the case kind of here. But I agree, it would be cool to be able to get a little closer, but still, just amazing model that's in here, and I had to give it a shout out.
Yeah, Dreams just keeps getting better and better, or I guess I should say the Dreams creators keep getting better and better. They're constantly, upping the ante and delivering better looking games and better playing games and bigger, longer games. One of the complaints early on was that, oh, these are just like short tech demo kind of things, or experiences, and we're getting longer and longer games that, if a game comes out on PlayStation VR and it's three hours, we're like, yeah, it's pretty much par for the course. But there's so many games that are 3+ hours in Dreams, and all for one low price of $20 to buy Dreams. Really one of the best reasons
Usually,
to have PSVR.
Yeah, and it goes on sale quite a bit. But was just super blown away by this, and yeah, I know. I'll leave it at that. I was gonna make a joke somewhere else, but I missed that train.
AJ, we've been saying that we're sort of waiting for the floodgates to open for PlayStation VR 2 announcements. I've been sort of saying that anybody who's in cahoots with Sony and is going to be on Sony's stage during the big reveal, when they finally pull the curtain back and show what the headset actually looks like and show a bunch of launch titles and upcoming games by different third-party studios and first-party studios, all those people are being quiet about their games. But people who are not really affiliated with Sony and want to bring their games over to PSVR 2, those people are starting to talk, and the floodgates are slowly starting to open. We've heard from a couple developers this week who said they're bringing their game to PSVR 2. Who's our first one?
Yeah, I was going to actually, about the Jurassic Park thing, I was going to make a joke saying that, last
you missed
last
it. We've moved on. Listen, Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry has to put the timestamps in a very specific place. Does he put it before this or after this? Nobody knows.
All right.
No. Tell your joke. Tell your joke, or people will get mad at me in the comments.
I won't.
Tell your joke.
It's not a joke anymore. All right. I was just going to say that last Friday or something, I talked about how I'm always stalking Sammy Barker, who's a writer over there at Push Square. Well, I published my video of the Jurassic Park thing this morning, and like 20 minutes later, they post an article about it, and so I was like, oh, maybe they're stalking me now, and that's all I was gonna say. Nice. It's nothing special there. But anyways, this comes from Sammy Barker over at Push Square and says, uber accurate ping pong simulation 11 table tennis is planned for PlayStation 5's next-gen virtual reality headset PSVR 2, according to a developer on the game's official subreddit. When asked by a fan if a port was in the pipeline, the spokesperson said, PS Move controller tracking is the only thing that prevented this from a PSVR release. Obviously, the new PSVR Sense controllers, PSVR 2 Sense controllers, will be a lot more accurate, and this will also bundle in features like haptic feedback, which should feel great in a table tennis title. So, how do you feel, Brian, about this guy, this developer, saying the PS Move controllers tracking is the only thing that prevented them from having a PSVR release?
I mean, we're all thinking the same thing right now, right? No one out there is
bullshit.
No one, right? Everyone's thinking, well, Racket Fury was fucking perfect. Everything from the vibration in the controller to the tracking was spot on. It's table tennis. Like they've been doing table tennis games since with the Move controllers way before VR. This was part of Sports Champions. This was a launch title for the PlayStation Moves back on the PlayStation 3, and guess what? Even that tracked perfectly, right? So I have no idea what this guy's talking about. It sounds like a lot of fucking nonsense. I mean, we've got Racket Fury, and it's perfect.
Yeah, if you guys want a table tennis experience, Racket Fury is fucking awesome. It's got perfect tracking, it's got perfect physics, perfect gameplay. You get to play on like out in space against robots. It has a single player, it has multiplayer. It also has like just a regular style, gym, a boring little normal simulation kind of level. But Racket Fury is an incredible game, and can't say I buy the whole blaming the PS Move controllers, but
I mean, I think we hear a lot of like hyperbole about people complaining about light tracking on PSVR 1, saying, oh, it's trash, it's this, it's that, whatever, right? And a lot of people have never even tried it. They're just like, oh, how could it be good? And then once people try it, they're like, oh, this is surprisingly good. Like, it actually works. And I feel like developers are in this exact same boat. They're like, they're like, oh, should we bring this over to PSVR? And somebody's like, oh no, the tracking over there sucks. They're like, yep, tracking over there sucks. Check that box in their brain, never to be checked, for themselves. And I feel like 11 is a perfect example of that. There's no way they announced that this game was coming to PlayStation VR like 3-4 years ago, and then I never saw anything about it. Never any footage. Never any updates from them. So I'm guessing they just decided to ditch the project before they even started it.
It's probably too difficult for them. It's okay.
It's okay. You're a good developer. You're a good developer. We don't hold it against you. No, we don't. It's okay. You're a good boy. We got Isaiah Cox in the chat with the $2 tip. Says, hope they port PSVR games to PSVR2. I got a backlog. Yeah, I think a lot of people have PSVR 1 backlogs. That is, dude.
Yeah, we've talked about that a bunch, and we firmly believe there will be a lot of remasters and whatnot for PlayStation VR 2.
Remasters, patches, upgrades. Maybe some will work right out of the box. We don't know, but that is, dude. I've seen a lot of people commenting. I put out a poll on YouTube asking who's buying Wanderer and who's buying Zenith on day one, and a surprising number of comments are in response to that. We're saying, I'm not buying any other PSVR 1 games until I know that I can play them on my PSVR 2. And I'm like, you know what? That's not a crazy thought to have. That's pretty fucking accurate, man. You don't want to be buying games right now for something that you're going to be shelving in 6 months and not have access to anymore unless you like hook it all up again. I totally understand that train of thought.
I mean, if Wanderer is amazing and it's an 8-hour experience, then hell yeah. Like, I mean, I understand the sentiment of, wanting to hold off and play a potentially better version.
Yeah.
I'm not that patient though, man. When I have access to the game, if the game's fucking great right now, I want to play that game right now. I've played almost the entirety of the PlayStation VR 1 library, and so I'm ready for new things.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to actually, I'm ready for games designed for PlayStation VR 2, not games designed based off the old tech. So, but I understand. I'm not an idiot. I understand how important as many games getting remasters and whatnot it would be for the next gen console. Headset.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of I think it's just one of those things where it's like, you're gonna want to play it again to see if it's how much better it looks on PSVR 2. You want to play it with a patch, you want to play with an upgrade. But yeah, I don't know. Some people are kind of a one and done sort of thing. They're like, I played the game, I've got great memories of it, I'm done, and I don't care if I ever play it again. And I think if that's the case, then you're probably best off buying the physical version from Perp. And then selling it, getting most of your money back, and then moving on. Otherwise, I've moved on to mostly digital, and so I'd really like those digital games that have a purpose. Once I'm done playing them. Anyways, but 11 isn't the only game that we've seen being talked about for PSVR 2, is it?
That is correct. This also comes from Push Square. They say Smash Social Golf Sim Golf Plus is planning a PSVR 2 port. The title, already available on MetaQuest 2, where it's a mainstay at the top of the software charts, is an award-winning virtual reality golf game with a huge community focus. In addition to hitting the links with lifelike gameplay, you could also team up with friends and strangers in clubhouses, making this a distinctly social take on the popular sport. Golf Plus has evolved a lot since it first launched and now has full 18-hole courses available, in addition to practice ranges and even licensed gear. They said, we contacted the developer to find out if it was considering bringing the sim to PlayStation 5's virtual reality headset, and while it stopped short of sharing any specific information,
take a breath.
A spokesperson told us that the company does plan on porting to PSVR 2.
Yeah, it's easy to kind of look at this and giggle a little bit and be like, okay, like this is very, very basic, right? But but I will say that, if you look at screenshots or the trailers of Walkabout Mini Golf from Mighty Coconut on Quest, it does not look very impressive. And then when you're in the game, you kind of take it all in and see it at once. And it's, some of these kind of more basic looking things have, a reason to exist. And in Golf Plus, if Clap Hands and Sony don't get their act together and get everybody's Golf VR 2 out, well, then they could have some stiff competition on their hands if they got the social aspect down, they get the multiplayer, they get everything they need, plenty of courses. It'd be interesting to see if everybody's golf 2 comes along and prevents this from being something that people are excited about.
Yeah, I will be really excited about this. I love the look of the game and everything, but I do hope to God that they touch it up some, like, take advantage of the PlayStation 5 hardware, because when it comes to PSVR 2, I'm not going to be very happy about playing Quest 2 ports, like those look great for the Quest, but I want something that can use the PS5 hardware. So there's going to be a lot of games like this, but the concept of the game, the overall sounding, what the experience sounds like of this game, I'm totally down with, and I totally agree with you as well. If there isn't like an Everybody's Golf or anything that's like huge, then this game is going to have a pretty big advantage, but of course we're all kind of hoping for a sequel to Everybody's Golf that actually has maybe more courses, and then of course multiplayer. Like that's a huge part of it. We're seeing a lot of VR games start to integrate a social experience to them, and I think that's really important. I think it is really important because, quite frankly, most people that play VR are fucking cool and they're fun to hang out with. And a lot of people that didn't play VR before love playing with their people in VR because it's just such a different player base that's a little bit more mature and easy to get along with. And you find out that you share a lot of common interests.
Yeah, when PlayStation VR first launched, and this is actually coming from Gabriel 004, his comment in the chat, he says, definitely going to be more selective for this upcoming generation. When we all first bought PlayStation VR 1, and I think a lot of people who just got into VR with their Quests, but you buy everything. You're just like, I just need to see whatever VR has to offer. I need to see every game that I get my hands on because it's so exciting and this is new and a new way to experience games. And so the attach rate for PSVR 1 was like through the roof, like 17 plus games. It was insane. And now that, there's going to be bigger titles, more titles to select from, more variety of titles in more genres. It's definitely going to be that thing where you're like, well, which golf game am I going to play? Is EA going to bring? Somebody else mentioned that PGA got delayed. EA's PGA Tour got delayed, and so it's like, well, are they going to be bringing a hybrid mode to that where you can actually use the orbs and actually swing the ball and play multiplayer and hang out and do the whole thing? That would crush it right there, right? The PGA Tour games are awesome. I've played. Hundreds of hours of Tiger Woods, the Masters with my dad on PS3, and it's so much fun. And if we could do that in VR together, fuck it, man. It's going to put all these other games to shame.
That would be really cool. I like Everybody's Golf and Mario Golf. I've always liked those.
Absolutely,
because they have like a little fun video gamey twist to them, which I really like.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Everybody's Golf is my favorite, and Mario Golf is very close second.
But sim stuff, like simulation stuff in VR, is really fun too. Like you really get into it. And even Everybody's Golf VR with its limitations was like so good in so many ways.
AJ, I gotta check one thing out here. Do you mind reading that last tip?
Yeah, I got this. It is Waleed Saeed Faridi with the Canadian $5 donation. Says, "Hi guys, hi Waleed. I am seeing too many media outlets speculating PSVR 2 will release in 2023. I feel that will be too late and a missed opportunity by Sony."
Yeah, I agree. Not missed opportunity. I think people waiting for the next gen of VR for a real big upgrade, something mind-blowing, the big leap forward that we've all been waiting for 6 years. I think people are still going to buy it, right? And they know that, that the 10 million people who are playing VR games right now, there's 100 million other people that they can market this to next year, right? So it's not the end of the world if they don't get it out, but we've just been waiting too long. Like, they announced PSVR 2 a year ago, and then here we are at CES 2022, and they showed us the logo and finally announced the game. It's like this has never happened in the history of anything where they announce a console or announce a peripheral and then it takes 2+ years to get it out, right? That's just not really how that works. I know we're in a different situation right now with the pandemic and everything else, but I still think there's no way it's going to be past that. It won't come out this year. What about you, AJ?
I actually agree with the VR grid, who says basically what I was about to say. PSVR is not releasing in 2023 unless something insane happens, halting productions. And yes, I totally agree. I mean, there's a lot of developers that have been given dev kits earlier last year. Well, I mean, I guess technically it was about a year ago, so I don't want to make that. I don't want to like lie or whatever. But it was earlier or last year, and yeah, I mean, developers have. There's so many reasons why I believe Sony will release the PSVR 2 this year. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, supply chain issue." Yes, that's still a thing, but at some point, you have to still go. Like, are they going to shut down? Are they going to shut down selling PS5s because there's a supply chain issue? No, you continue to sell them. You get it out the door when it's ready. When the product is ready, you get it out the door when possible. And
or
on
in
the other,
PlayStation 5's case, a little before it's ready. You know,
maybe a little bit before.
Whatever, no big deal.
Yeah, well, I think, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. You know why PlayStation 5 still released in November of 2020 is because they had all this stuff is done prior. Like this wasn't a decision just like a month before the PlayStation came out. All this stuff has so much red tape to go through, so many processes. So all of it gets done beforehand. And then when everything is set in stone, then you see the marketing blitz that goes behind it. Sony kicking off, there was a lot of people saying we weren't going to get PlayStation VR 2 this year. And then they were completely blindsided when they came out in CES, said it's PlayStation VR 2, showed Horizon. And now those people are like not so sure anymore. And I think they shouldn't be sure anymore. They should see that, yeah, the marketing is going to begin to ramp up. And it would really take something drastic to happen, but there's a lot of deals and stuff that go into place here. And if Sony had originally planned to go out this year to release it this year, and they change that, then that destroys relationships and opportunities with developers, and so they can't back away from that. So I think it absolutely is coming out this year, and maybe even sooner than we think.
Well, and let me tell you that Jim Ryan would not be on stage talking about PlayStation VR 2 during CES just 2 weeks ago or a week ago if it wasn't coming out this year. They would have pushed that announcement off to middle of the year, end of the year. Like they are kicking off the year by saying PlayStation VR 2, and so there's no way they didn't have to do that at CES. They talked about 1,000 other things, right? They could have just not talked about PSVR 2, and no one would have blinked. They'd be like, all right, it's fine. It's just coming in eventually, right? But the fact that they actually made a big deal about it and showed off clips of a game is an indication that it is coming sooner rather than later. And I think that 2023 is ridiculous. I think that, best case scenario, we could see it mid 2022. But that's a conversation for another time.
Well, sort of. I mean, to go even more into it later for sure. But I will say, when they talked about PlayStation VR 2, they talked about it as they see it as a financial opportunity. So they know that if they know the damage that they can do if they don't get it out this year, on all accounts, with fans, with developers, with their own profits. So there's several reasons that they want to do it this year, and most likely will, unless something crazy happens. But I don't see that being the case one bit. Like Brian said, with them kicking off the year saying PlayStation VR 2, I think that's very telling.
Very telling, absolutely. But AJ, when PlayStation VR 2 gets here, we got people like Great Tantrum in the chat, who's out of his fucking mind as always. He says, now if PSVR 2 is also compatible with PC, then you might have something that will sell off the shelves. Great Tantrum, let me ask you this. What game could appear at the PlayStation VR 2 launch to cause the PSVR 2 to sell off the shelves? As if it wasn't going to already. Everybody's been waiting for this. We're sick of
that's
crappy
what
VR.
We're all about, man. We're all about the games, man.
Right. So that brings us to the big discussion that we're going to have today, and that's going to be that's all about which games could potentially be system sellers. Now, there's so much to unpack here, because I think the first thing we sort of have to address, AJ, before we even start talking about games that could potentially sell headsets, is there any one game that could actually do that? I think we saw on PlayStation VR 1 that we got Skyrim VR, and we got Borderlands 2 VR, and we got Minecraft VR, but all of those only moved the needle just a little. It wasn't like, oh, we just sold fucking 5 more units because of that one specific game. Do you think? I mean, Resident Evil almost from the get go, right? Resident Evil 7. It's like that should have put 5 million headsets into people's hands right then. Be like, oh, I need to experience the scariest game like in the scariest way possible. So with that in mind, and that being sort of our history with VR, do you think that there is a game that could be a PSVR2 system seller?
I think there are, at this moment, I think there are 2 games, Brian, not just one, but actually 2 that would absolutely sell the shit out of PSVR2 headsets. And we were talking a little bit earlier, Brian, about this kind of conversation and how we wanted to address it. And one thing I brought up to you was that we've seen this Horizon Zero Dawn game. Horizon Call of the Mountain game.
Circle of the Moon
game. And I was talking about, like, it's kind of interesting to me that with what we've seen so far, and it begs the question of what people are looking for. Are they looking for unique VR games, or are they looking for ports of existing games? If you were to ask me as a consumer, this is the thing. I think that Horizon game will sell a lot of headsets. A lot. I think that's a good idea. But I don't know if it's going to sell absolutely everybody on a headset. For me personally, if I didn't have a PSVR 2 and I saw that, I don't know how I'd feel about it at the time. But if they were to say, hey, Horizon Zero Dawn is now first person, completely playable in VR. Everything is interactive. It takes advantage of the orbs. You get to shoot the bow. You get to crank make it VRAF. You get to crank the bolt cast or the rope caster. You get to swing the spear. You get to climb up tall necks. That to me, that to me would be a system.
Don't blame yourself. He deserved it.
I don't know what's going on with this thing. That to me is what people are looking for. They are looking for like the flat screen experience converted to VR, in my opinion. So when you ask me the question of what games would sell headsets, there's 2 that come to mind. And the one game that I actually think probably would sell even more headsets than Horizon Circle of the Moon. We got to stop doing that.
Somebody out there is like, these guys don't know what they're talking about.
My first one I'm going to say is Half-Life Alyx. Hands down. I see so much more buzz around that game, so much more people talking about that because it is a AAA VR title that's a full-length game that is a deep experience when it comes to utilizing the tech. It's also Half-Life. Ian Stanbridge said, "Did I just drop the mic?" I did just drop the mic. That was a literal and figurative mic drop moment. But yeah, man, I think that's a clear example, and that was Valve saying, this is what VR can be. This is what people want in terms of the scope of the game. And nobody else has really seemed to have topped it so far.
Yeah.
But that's one example of many.
And I do agree that Alyx is very important to have at launch because, prior to this, you would have needed a pretty hefty PC to be able to play it and a PC VR headset or Quest that you've linked up. And and I do think that kind of to bring it to mainstream console gamers who've been curious about it, it doesn't matter if the game came out a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. By the time it gets here, it'll have generated that much buzz where people go, we finally get to check this out. It's like Boneworks, right? It's like It doesn't even matter if Boneworks is a good game, and by all reports, it's all right. People are going to buy it because they've been so curious about it for so long and haven't had the tools needed to play it. And so that's why I agree with you on Alyx, but also I do think that it's an older age group that's interested in Alex, because there's a younger demographic out there, and I don't mean like, the kids get like 12, 13, 14. I mean like, if you're in your early
20s or
20s,
something.
yeah, you missed the Half-Life boat because it took them so long to. I
I
mean,
don't know about that.
some gamers are really interested in gaming history and say, oh, what came out before I was born, what came out when I was too young to play games, and they go back and check that shit out. But a lot of gamers don't, and so I think Half-Life is an important title to have, especially for us older gamers. But at the same time, I don't know if it's going to sell, if that's like the number one game that would sell a ton of people on a headset. What I think, and I know I'm rambling here, so I apologize. It's the cold medicine. I've been all day and every day. But I think Alex is one of those titles that won't sell headsets. But if you're buying a PlayStation VR2 headset, you're also going to buy Alex. It's one of those games you're like, oh, I can play this now. Sweet, purchase. So
Bro,
I don't think I think it'll sell like crazy.
So many headsets. I really think it would. I totally disagree. I agree that a lot of people that just have the headset will buy Half-Life Alex. Yes, that's true too. But I totally think, despite what anyone says, when it comes to just the numbers being made behind the scenes, I think 100% Alex sells a shit ton of headsets, like at a huge amount, mainstream level.
Well, Pietrek F disagrees with you with his 9 plantains and says the only PSVR2 system seller would be Bugsnax VR. And I agree with him. Also, Waleed Saeed Faridi with the Canadian $10 tip says, I think the first 6 million will sell right away, as it is us PSVR 1 owners grabbing it with both hands. After that, Half-Life Alex, a family sports game, a Call of Duty equivalent, a Firewall sequel. Oh, could be both Firewall sequel and Call of Duty equivalent. And then, of course, in capital letters, Spider-Man, which I think we'll be talking about momentarily. So I'm gonna. So I think. Did you start with the game that you think will sell headsets the most?
That's to me the easy answer. That's not even my number one answer.
Then let me start with an easy answer as well, because I think the easiest answer out there is the game that has sold more copies than any other game, and it'll be about to be on its 3rd generation of hardware that will convince people to buy it yet again, and that's Grand Theft Auto 5. Somehow, I don't understand how this game has been like the number one selling game for like the PlayStation 3 era, the PlayStation 4 era, and it will about to be on PlayStation 5. It's still topping the charts for the PlayStation 4 stuff, and that's with a lot of people having already moved on to next gen hardware. So you would think at this point everybody already owns it, right? But the fact is that it's not just one of those games that you play and then you put down. Like once you're done with the campaign, Grand Theft Online is this like perpetual world where that you can live in and team up with other people and play, and it's really delivering on so many aspects of games that we're just now getting to see in VR. Like Zenith will actually be the first time you get to jump into a world and play with a ton of other people, this MMO aspect. But Grand Theft, like if you bring that into VR, well now you've got, instead of being in this fantasy world, you've got a real world, or like a modern world, and you've got guns and cars, and I think that speaks to gamers these days more than anything else, which is why it's sold so much. And you get to do that all in first-person VR, hop into a car with a group of friends and just take off and ride down the road and shoot people. I mean, like, there's just no question in my mind that if there was going to be a game that would sell headsets, that's the one.
I do agree with this one absolutely, and we'll call these first two ones the launch editions. Like the best chance to sell the most headsets at launch. Can we
call these two the low hanging fruit?
the low hanging.
These are the easy ones.
It's definitely Half-Life Alex, Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, look, whether you're interested in these games or not, these two games would sell ungodly amounts of headsets and PS5s, and software sales. Grand Theft Auto, as of second quarter fiscal figures on November 3rd, 2021, Grand Theft Auto 5, 155 million copies.
It's insane.
That's so many.
Yeah.
These are easy cash cows just waiting to happen. And I think both of these are going to happen too. I think both of these are a very strong possibility.
Absolute
Now,
no-brainers. I think Sony's been in cahoots with Rockstar for quite a while now. It seems like they're always making announcements for the PlayStation version of Grand Theft first, and we know that we're getting we're getting some exclusive stuff going on as soon as Grand Theft launches on PlayStation 5. So there are deals in the works, and it sounds like there might be some deals in the works with Valve as well. So I
but
would
here's the
say
thing, Brian.
these are as close to 100% as you can get.
But here's the thing, Brian.
Yes.
Launch is not the only time you want to sell headsets. You have put 5 to 7 years. I mean, we're on the 6th year of PSVR right now, and that's with that tech. Imagine how much stronger the legs are going to be with PSVR2, so you need something after launch. So to me, and I think that this is overall. It's hard to argue with Grand Theft Auto 5, though. So maybe that one is in contention with this. But I think, to me personally, overall, the number one game you can make within the next couple years that will sell the most amount of headsets is a AAA Spider-Man VR game. And I don't just mean, this is the thing, though. I don't mean a small side experience, a free experience. I mean a deep. You take a game as deep as the original, the two Spider-Man games, Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales.
PlayStation 2? Oh, damn.
No, well, I mean, hey, that was a good one too, right? It's been a while. I get them confused. I know Spider-Man PS1.
There were a lot of good ones. Yeah, the Neversoft ones on PlayStation 1 were great, and then there was just Activision that made the PS2 ones. I forget.
But I think if you make a full length, I don't even want this to be at launch, like unless it's a full length game. If any of these come out, if this comes out and it's not a big game, it's not going to have the same impact. It's going to take a wind out of a lot of the sales here. But if you have let's say 10 to 20 hour AAA Spider-Man game that's like open world, has that Insomniac polish, has like, the lighting, the reflections, has the boss fights, the story, all of this stuff, utilizes the adaptive triggers with the gameplay and has like amazing gameplay and everything. You have a legit AAA full-length Spider-Man VR game. I think that is, to me, in my opinion, besides maybe Grand Theft Auto, the number one system seller game for PlayStation VR 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think Grand Theft gets you partway there, right? You get into a world and it's super immersive, and you get to shoot and drive and do all that cool stuff. But Spider-Man gets you a little bit further with things that you've always wanted to do superhero style, right? You want to jump off of tall buildings. You want to swing with your with your webs. You want to use your Spidey sense. Like, it's all these things that it's like you could just hop in a car with your friends IRL and just shoot people as you drive down the street. Like, that's a thing you could do. But I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying it's a thing that happens in real life. But if you really want to go deep and try something that you could never do in real life, this sounds bad. It makes it sound like I'm saying you could just go shoot people and everything would be fine. but you shouldn't shoot people. Everything will not be fine. Reserve that for VR games.
I'm gonna pull this car over right now, bro.
I'm not kidding, man. I'm on a lot of Theraflu. I'm blaming the drugs. Okay. I'm just honestly happy to be here right now because I was like barely off the couch an hour ago. But dude. So I think you get that, like, that Windlands element where you get to like really experience something that's like visceral in VR. You get to look down. Like, I'm scared of heights, and sometimes I'm in Windlands too, and I look down and it's a cartoony game. Right? It's a cartoony game, and I forget that I'm in VR. Not forget, but it's like I look down and go woof, like in my stomach drops, and I just go, whoa, I'm really high up right now, and to see that with the capabilities of the PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2 and in a realistic city. Yeah, I think that would be super intense.
Dude, yeah, like a stunning city and whatnot. Oh my god! And then like have like the action, the cut scenes, so many things here. You got cold yogurt with the $10 donation. What up, my dude? Good to see you. It says my OMG moment came recently when web swinging Far From Home VR. I tried the Spidey hand gestures on the Knuckles controller and it works. Dream came true. That's what I'm talking about, man. I mean, you know why I say Spider-Man? Because Spider-Man is so much bigger than video games right now, especially right now. Yep. Between the movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just the culture, the way that it's changing, like our culture. or the impact it's had on our culture. Like Spider-Man is just huge, and that's why I think people that don't know about video games, don't know about that. PSVR2 Spider-Man game, full-length game would reach those people as well. And if you want to put the cherry on top, throw in multiplayer with it. Let you swing around with Miles Morales and Peter Parker, and all the other rest of the characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. Now, we are running a little bit long, and so I kind of want to take this into kind of like this conversation into its final stage,
Okay.
and say that I think these games are super duper important, and I think that Grand Theft would do wonders for sales. I think that Half-Life will do wonders for sales. It makes all these games give people more of an incentive to take the plunge and say this is something I'm interested in. But I think I've got to be on record here and say that I don't think there's a single game that could do it. I don't think there's a single game out there that make everyone just jump into VR and say this is what I've been waiting for, right? What I think is going to work more than anything. One of the games on my list was Uncharted, another one was Call of Duty, and I think the deal is that big developers, Sony included, first party and third party, have to start taking risks with their big IPs. They have to. Everybody has to start going, here's your Splinter Cell in VR. Here's your Assassin's Creed in VR. Here's your Uncharted in VR. Here's your everything. And some of those are going to be unique to VR. They're going to be these games just like Call of the Mountain. That's correct. Wow, I didn't mess it up. You can only play it in VR. This is not a hybrid game. And some of those will be hybrid games that as Sony's mandating, will feel like they're built from the ground up for VR. And so I think it's going to take this collaborative effort for people to say, for God of War fans to get their God of War in VR, for Uncharted fans to get their Uncharted game in VR, and eventually, all of those things together are the system sellers. Right, this last gen has been really rocky when it came to IPs that you were familiar with. Like I loved Immortal Legacy, I loved Blood and Truth, but no one knows what those games are unless you've got a VR headset. And without owning a VR headset already, you're not going to take the $20 plunge and see if those games are something that you're going to really love and talk about with your friends. And so you need to say, hey, this is these big titles, these big IPs, these things that we're familiar with. Everybody needs to get on board and start making VR games out of them, and that's the only way everyone is going to be like this mass market adoption.
Well, if you're not going to be a big AAA IP, and this is something I hope to see as well, which is, we talk about the hybrids. Like I do hope to see lots of hybrids. That way, it's maybe doesn't have to be exclusive to VR, but an enhanced experience or altered experience with VR. But I think my point is that I think what Sony needs to be careful about doing this gen is not taking a popular IP and then making an inferior VR experience. Mm-hmm. Like it has to be up to par with the flat screen game. That's what I was saying. For me personally, when it comes to a Horizon VR game, I would have liked just Horizon in VR, Horizon Zero Dawn in VR, Horizon Forbidden West in VR. That's going to get people excited. Telling them you're going to give them a full open world, a 30-hour story, this stuff. But obviously that's expensive, which is why I believe in the hybrid theory. Because you can, at least until VR continues to grow. That's why I really feel like that is a winning game plan in the meantime. Now, the other game I was going to mention was going to be Red Dead Redemption 2, because that is a game that I feel like is just perfect, a great fit for VR. But let me ask you something, Brian. If you could have just make up, let's just make one up real quick. If you could have any dream game, and I want to hear yours in the chat as well. One game, one dream game. It could be anything at all. What dream VR game would you like to see?
I mean, I guess my dream VR game would have to be something that's not realistic right now, like not feasible for a developer to put a lot of time and effort into, and that would be like a built from the ground up, unique to VR.
You're gonna say the exact thing.
Resident Evil game.
Okay.
That's as scary as Resident Evil 7, that you just can't play anywhere else. That really takes it. Zombies would be nice. Go back to their roots and do something very Resident Evil 1. Pick up the pin and move it. Let's start with brand new characters. Having Ethan as a fresh start was really nice. And like to not get bogged down in all the crazy Resident Evil lore. Just something that was like really doubled down on being scary. And really taking advantage of VR, obviously with hands and the controllers and everything else, haptics in the headset. Just to be this, I want to be able to say I just played the scariest thing I've ever played, and it's only on PlayStation VR2, and I think Capcom's capable of that.
Oh yeah. Well, appreciate it. We wanted to end this on a fun note. I see lots of great suggestions in the chat, starting with Boycott Activision saying G Police, Grimrock, Fallout 4, Dan Kiefer wants The Forest. VR Grid has a good one. Elder Scrolls 6. I love all these. Final Fantasy 7. My man, Neon Group, Gran Turismo 7, Manhunt, etc. My dream VR game, just to cap this off before we get to our final segment of the show, would be Silent Hills in VR, built for the ground up. Hideo Kojima. And I think that would also was going to be one of my ultimate system sellers, like a VR exclusive Silent Hills game that was made by Hideo Kojima and Konami. I don't think that's ever going to happen, just because it's Konami and what they've done. Awful things. I'll still hold out a little bit of hope in the back of my mind, but to me, dream game, Silent Hill all day.
I'm sorry, did you read Looper's tip when you said that? Looper Underground Game Cat, €2 says, how about Kojima's Silent Hills as a PSVR 2 seller?
Great minds, Looper.
Now,
Great
minds. However, the Silent Hill dirty little secret is that Silent Hill doesn't sell very well. Like, even on flat screen to tens of millions of potential customers or 100 million potential customers, it doesn't sell all that well. So as a system seller,
I think Silent Hills was getting primed and ready to
change all that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We got Waleed Saeed Faridi with the Canadian $2 tip, says a deep stealth game, Metal Gear Solid with Last of Us mechanics. Agreed. KillSL777 Forever with the $3 tip gives us a Hamo in camouflage. Alberto Mapam, El Game Gato with the Mexican 50 Mexican pesos. I'll get that one day. As a Kingdom Hearts fan, seeing free VR experience in that game inside. That game is called Verum Rex VR. Verum Rex. Do you think they'll make a VR Kingdom Hearts game? No. Unfortunately, that game like really succeeds because it's a third person game, and I don't think there's much it could do in VR. But I'd be happy to be proven wrong.
I would love to see Square Enix bring a Final Fantasy to VR though.
Yeah. Wonder Rob with the $5 tip says, I send love and feel better magic to all the game cats who are not feeling well. I think there's a lot of us right now. Josh especially, but and I feel bad for even complaining about like my cold or whatever it is, because it's like other people have bigger things to complain about. We got Aceville VR with the $2 tip says, Tooper, as in super with a 2, hot. Tooper, hot. Very nice. Exactly. AJ.
But yeah, man. So our big 3 or our big 4, I think we said that would sell the most headsets was Grand Theft Auto 5, Half-Life Alyx, and a Spider-Man VR game. Didn't you? You had one more though, right? Didn't you? That you said would be a big system seller.
Yeah, my third one on my list was Uncharted. But that
Uncharted.
But that really again kind of plays into what I was saying, is like that. One Uncharted VR game isn't going to cut it. One Horizon VR game isn't going to cut it, right? It's like we need all of these IPs in VR.
Yeah, that's the big answer is just lots of those.
Before the show, I also said Fortnite because I was like, dude, Fortnite would sell headsets like crazy.
I was ready to argue with you about that. I don't think it would.
The conversation was going on way too long, and we could have had a 30-minute talk about whether
Maybe we'll dedicate another show to whether Fortnite. I say no.
Oh, I say yes. I think the audience is just too large for it not to make some kind of meaningful impact. Mark Pringlesleaf with the 2 quid says Witcher 3 for me in VR. It's a good choice, man. I've never actually played Witcher 3 because.
Yeah, I would have loved if Cyberpunk 2077 didn't. Shit the bed. Then I was expecting that to be a VR launch title. To be honest.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm not sure I even want it. Somebody else will do something better. That's why I said Red Dead Redemption 2 instead.
I mean, if they can get it working properly, I would totally play that game in VR because I wanted to play it. and I ended up just doing the refund thing to test if I could get a refund, and I did. So, AJ, are you ready to play PSVR 20 questions to round out the show?
I am ready to do this, my friend.
All right, I think I am the host this time around.
Iron Man.
All you are genetic blasphemy. The reverse engineered game cap. The $5 tip says, I think all you are's history was right by saying that if Sony solves motion sickness, that will be the system seller. There's a lot of cats out there that suffer from motion sickness. Some of them push forward with it, even just because they just want to play the game, and that's miserable, man. I feel so bad for anyone who suffers from motion sickness. Because
Bad Robo, my dude. Shit, Bad Robo has better answer for myself than I did, and he says Bloodborne 2 VR. Let's go, Bad Robo. Yeah. Upload VR did an art a kind of a, I hate to say it because I like some people at Upload, but they had a poor showing of games that their wish list games of VR games, and I was giving them shit. I was like, "Where's Bloodborne? Where's Bloodborne VR?" So now I've got caught doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, wish lists are one thing. I think wish lists like Demon Souls or Dark Souls or Bloodborne.
Right.
That's more of a wish list thing. I don't know if it's a system seller. I don't know if there's enough people out
Bloodborne's
there
more.
It's like really the hardcore, like that love difficult game, love challenging games. And that's a small fraction of the gaming audience out there. And, it might have sold well, but not system seller well. I don't know.
You'll have a more hardcore gamer, passionate fan base around it, but maybe not. Again, we're talking money here.
Yeah. AJ, I'm putting 6 minutes up on the clock. You get 20 questions to guess what PlayStation VR game, yes or no questions, to guess what PlayStation VR game I'm thinking of. I have no idea which game it is because I came up with it fucking an hour ago. Here it is. Okay, cool. Are you ready?
Yep.
Everybody help him out in the chat. Here we go. 6 minutes. Boom. Go for it.
Does it have move support?
Yes.
Does it have DualShock 4 support?
No.
Did it come out within the last 2 years?
Yes.
I should have this then. Is it a shooter?
No.
So there's no shooting in it.
That's not the question you asked. We could try to get 2 questions for one.
You said it's. I said, is it a shooter? You said no.
Mm-hmm.
So it has shooting, but it's not a shooter.
I didn't say that. I'm just not answering 2 questions.
Damn it! I tried.
Unless you want to count that.
I tried a freebie. Is it? Let's see here. Let me see what the cats are saying here. Is it sci-fi?
No, and that's 5.
Okay. Is it a puzzle game?
Puzzle elements, but I think if you go down that route, you'll be in trouble.
Okay. Is it a horror game?
No.
Does it have multiplayer?
No.
Is it a rhythm game?
No.
Okay. Do you have hands?
Yes. That's 10.
I don't know how that helps us, guys, but you wanted to ask it, so. Ian Stanbridge says, "Trust me, it is baby hands." Do I like this game?
It's so funny. I was just thinking. I was almost picked baby hands. Do you like this game? Yes.
Okay. Let's see. It's got move support, so it can't be Hitman. It's not baby hands. He just admitted that.
Did I? Or did
is there melee? Is there sword fighting?
No.
Guys, within the last 2 years, quit naming games from 2016. You're killing me. 2 years, guys. Last 2 years. Does it have Dargans in it?
No.
I maybe should have just put my own questions here. Come on, cats. Give me something good. If we mess this up, I'm blaming you. Does it have full locomotion? I like this one.
Yes.
Okay. So last year, full locomotion. We're running out of questions, though. So we have to be very, very careful here. It can't be Tarzan VR because I hated that game.
But you reference it all the time. Wait, do you not like Tarzan?
No, I don't.
Don't mind me. I'll just be over here.
So I like this game.
Yeah.
He said there's no sword fighting. So, no swords. It's not futuristic. It's within the last 2 years. Are there zombies in this game?
No, and that's 15.
Shit. I burned a lot of questions, guys. How much time do I have left?
2 minutes.
Okay. We're okay on time-ish. All right. Are you... Oh, man. Okay. Are there vehicles in this game?
No.
It's not a shooter. Is it in the top 25? Has it ever been in any of our top 25s, including our favorites list?
I don't believe so, no.
And yeah, I asked if there was multiplayer, right? And you said no?
Did you ask if there was multiplayer?
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I don't remember you saying that, but there's no multiplayer.
I thought I did.
We all know you're a cheater.
All right,
so it's okay.
there's no multiplayer.
Getting a few extra questions in there with the last minute.
It's not a shooter. There's no multiplayer. It can't be Windlands. Have the devs...
That's right. You listen to Tiff. You listen.
Have the devs made other games, other PSVR games?
Yes.
Ooh. Okay. What? Shit.
18. You got one more question and then a guess. You only have 45 seconds left.
Is this game made by Trebuchet?
This game is made by Trebuchet.
Oh, shit. Is it Winds and Leaves?
You picked the wrong one!
No!
I'm just kidding. It's really Winds and Leaves. You got it!
Yes! Brody the Game Cat.
It was actually Mick Coles. Mick Coles was the first one who said it like 2 minutes ago. But
I saw Rhodey.
Those were the only two that I saw who got it. And
that big blue wrench came in handy. Yes.
Yeah. Winds and Leaves. I believe that was a 2021 game by Trebuchet, who also made Prison Boss VR, which doesn't have full locomotion, so that immediately disqualified it. But yeah, you like this more than I did even. I thought this was fine. You thought it was good.
I think it's a really, really good game, actually. Yeah.
Good. I was a little concerned about that because I was like, we talked about it quite a bit, and I remembered you saying that you liked it.
Oh yeah, I think it's a really good. It's VR AF, man.
I wish the climbing was better, but the climbing bothers me. And there's a few things I would change about it, but yeah, it's a cool game, and I think I like what they did with it. I don't know.
Hell yeah. Thank you also, Tiff.
Did Tiff guess it, or did she just lead you in the right direction?
She got me in the right direction by saying, "Is it made by another person?"
Nice.
So that definitely helped.
Well, let me tell you this: as JC, the inimitable, dual-wielding ass kicking game cat says, another Monday successfully completed. Thanks for the show, guys. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you to everybody who helps this channel run. J Meow, Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry, this guy over here. Make sure you subscribe to AJ at PSVR Underground. All the cats out there who donated during the stream, who support us on patreon.com/withoutparole Don't forget, we're trying to get AJ hired, so support us over there. And of course, everyone who watched the show, sat back, didn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there, and we love you just as much. AJ, I'm so ready for this Monday to continue not sucking a little bit less. Let's cue the cat.
Cue the cat, Brian, because I want to say have a great night. We'll see you Wednesday to Stingray X later, man. The VR grid says Winds and Leaves is great. Yeah, but nobody can trust you, Ryan, because you gave Russian Blood a 6. GC.Pepsi Cat coming in clutch. And thank you so much for helping me.
Like anytime we can throw shade at VR grid.
I love you, Brian. Love you, babe.
You're all right.
Bob Zarkoff, the Underground Game Cat Elite Name Squad in the house. All you are is history. Says, remember, y'all, be excellent to each other. Mark Pringles Leaf. He asked me something earlier that I almost answered. Oh, he asked me what's the worst game I've ever played.
Wait, ever played?
Yeah, like VR, PSVR
okay,
game.
yeah.
He asked me. I think it's like either Good Dog, Bad Dog, or Rage Room. I think those two really piss me off quite a bit, and it is hard to piss me off.
What was the Reborn, a Samurai
Reborn
Awakens?
Samurai Awakens.
That might be
bad.
mine. That was because it was also like $40 or something. It was insane.
Yeah. Paper Wings, the Game Cat, fly, baby, fly, Brax, bro, play more, one shot. Fargle Soft, good night to you. Pietrek F, goodbye to you, my friend. Time to play with the Game Cats, Raw, said Rex. Old Darth, bye-bye. Nathan J. Rhodey, thank you, man. Peace out to you, too. All you are is history. I don't think VR is as bad as... I mean, it's a shit game.
Oh, it's terrible.
Not as bad. It's not the worst of all time, I would say. Waleed Sahid Faridi, thank you so much, man. Said DWVR is the worst game you ever played. Interesting.
Whoa,
I mean,
whoa.
What? It's bland. It's kind of... It's
But
all
it
right.
works.
Larry, hey, wait, hold on. We got Larry. Choo, choo, choo. Left, right, chew. Tom Flesh Eater Gaming, thanks so much, man. Mick Coles, keep throwing them shapes. Yeah, Keeper, have a great night. Kill Cell, baby. 777. Give a double up for the lights. Be out, Game Cat. Have a great night. And he says, everyone get well. Agreed. Josh, if you're out there, man, we love you, dude. We're thinking about you. Get better soon. Good luck with your surgery. We love you, dude. Beard of Power, 666. Ross, Christofari. AP, hello. Neon Groove, thank you. JC, the inimitable dual-wielding ass-kicking Game Cat.
Inimitable.
Guy, son, fist bump to you. Love y'all. Have a great night. We'll see you Wednesday.